Hello, everybody. Scott with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel here, and we continue our ECW foray into ECW week by week television review. And as mentioned, I've been gone for a while. Hopefully, going to get back to being here a little more regularly, but still going to move and other things I got going on. So we'll do what we can. In any event, this is the ECW. April 13th, 1993 edition. Still a very early infancy promotion in that they've been around for about a year. This is their second television production here. And, it shows there are a lot of guys that are not ready for that level of value. Second time as many weeks, Gilbert comes out and basically insists that he should be the special guest commentator for the program. Terry Funk says he may not need to do much or be able to hold on to the microphone because he's going to need both of his fists to take care of Eddie Gilbert. He continues to let Gilbert know that he's free to speak and Gilbert's free to speak, and that Gilbert eventually will need to shut his mouth. And once again, Gilbert kind of goes with Funk being old. Keeps daring him. What's he going to do? Because Philly are his people. Funk manages to pour water down Gilbert's shirt in a bit of an amateur prank, but it's kind of building heat between the two. Then we go to Glenn Osborne as part of the television championship tournament. Osborne facing off against none other than Johnny Hotbody, and kind of that goes along the way. Osborne, a independent guy from the area. Osborne hits a couple of clotheslines in the early stages, almost kind of doing a goth gimmick here. Long hair, lots of back and forth with headlock takeovers. They go to the outside. Osborne looks strong with some inside out. There is a suplex outside in from both guys at various points in the match. Osborne goes at it with the headlocks and the suplex. Hotbody is then taking his opponent to the outside of the ring. Suplex on the floor by Hotbody and a running shoulder tackle. So certainly, even in the early stages of the first couple of weeks of television, you see that brawling style that ECW became known for. The diving shoulder tackle off the apron, daring at the time. Obviously, 30 years later, we'd see it as, what's the big deal? But at the time, kind of a big deal there. Hotbody with some clotheslines, and one of which catches the referee. Referee goes down, so we see a lot of referee interference, a lot of referee distractions in the early stages of ECW, kind of being that no rules approach. And then Hotbody hits a pile driver on Osborne from the outside, or not from the outside, but from the outside. Tommy Cairo makes his way out and blocks a superplex that Hotbody is trying to execute. That leads to Glenn Osborne being able to hit a top rope splash. Not sure that was the best of moves, in that if you have Superfly Snuka on the program, a top rope splash probably isn't the way to go unless you're building towards those two doing it, in some sort of feud in the future. But anyway, that's where we go. Osborne cuts a short promo, says this is his first victim, and he's going to win the television championship. Throughout these interviews, Terry Funk, who is the interviewer for the promotion at the time, makes the mistake of constantly saying that this is the heavyweight championship a few times. So I don't know if Funk wasn't in the loop or what happened there, but it happens more than one time. Then we go to Larry Winters and Tony Stetson, the babyface tag team challengers in the upcoming weeks, facing off against Chris Michaels and the Samoan Warrior in a tag match. Winters and Michaels go back and forth with a good bit of counter wrestling, tip-ups, and the like. The object of the match, and it's executed quite well, is to make Stetson and Winters look like a cohesive unit, and that is executed quite well here. Stetson does hit a bit of a sloppy gut wrench suplex. Maybe he's not used to hitting that maneuver, but again, another move that you don't see a lot of at the time. Michaels skins the cat and doesn't really need to, as he then gets caught with the Cactus Jack over the top rope clothesline. onto the outside, double suplex by the babyfaces back into the ring, and a high backdrop on Michaels. Michaels does a lot of flying around. At some point, the Samoan Warrior makes his way back in, and inverted neck snap by Winters. Double shoulder tackle by the babyfaces, cut off by the Samoan Warrior, who misses a splash in the corner, hits his shoulder, and kind of bounces around for the babyfaces here. After the match, there is Terry Funk basically saying that Stetson and Hotbody, or Stetson and Winters rather, are moving on up, and then Hunter Q. Robbins III comes out with his tag team, jumping the babyface tag team from behind, so obviously continuing to build that feud. Funk disables Hunter Q. Robbins from leaving. Then we get a Sandman music video. Sandman is endorsed by Terry Funk as being a good champion and a guy who's done a lot for the local area. Sandman is not the typical Sandman we're used to seeing. If you want to go check this out on Peacock, it's certainly worth it. The Sandman is, in fact, a guy who is wearing tie-dye and carrying a surfboard to the ring, so a little bit different there. Then Sandman goes in there with the Kodiak Bear for the ECW Heavyweight Championship. Super basic match, not what most of us are used to. Kodiak Bear is a independent guy in the tri-state area at the time, I believe part of the TWA prior to being part of ECW. Sandman using moves we wouldn't expect from him, especially the later version of the Sandman, including smacking his opponent on the backside and also managing to hitting a lariat to the back of the head. Follows a top rope dropkick from the Sandman. Yes, he stumbles up there. Worth checking out just to see, because it's not something you would ever imagine him to do. And he hits a slingshot over the top rope crossbody back into the ring. Sandman does the $1 Million Dream, or a variation of it, to get the championship victory. Then we go to the main event of the day. TV title tournament once again. Eddie Gilbert versus JT Smith. Smith, of course, a perennial ECW guy after turning down a payday from Todd Gordon when the house was light on a show. And Gilbert and Smith go back. Gilbert does a lot of really basic things here, including having Tigra at ringside with him to kind of get extra, I guess you'd say, value or whatever. But when we kind of see he's excited at having another lady out there, sends his man to the outside. Gilbert using the bell, the ring bell, chairs, and sending Smith into the table on the outside, sending him into the wall as well. Smith does manage a short comeback, including clotheslines and a follow-away overhead slam. Gets a near fall. Gilbert manages to get out of the way of a moonsault from Smith, and then grabs a foreign object from his tights, Memphis style, and averts a small comeback from Smith with that use of the foreign object. Then we see a super short match, about less than 3 minutes. Super Ninja, which is a masked athlete, versus Tommy Cairo. Cairo continues his unbeaten streak here. Hits a spin wheel kick and a kind of, I guess, overhead German suplex. Interference from Johnny Hotbody, but Cairo is able to get the victory. Hotbody and Cairo brawl off, and that is the end of our second week of ECW. Once again, these will go up in monthly packs. We're hoping to be here on a more consistent basis. We'll be back with more right after this.